The first time I realized how powerless I felt in my own life was the moment sweat rolled down my face, my lungs burning, as I chased a man I once feared more than any challenge this world had thrown at me. The morning sun had barely risen, the sky still painted with streaks of tired gray, yet there I was, running with every ounce of strength I had left in me, running towards something I didn't yet understand, running away from everything that had kept me small, and running with a fire inside that refused to die. My boss, the man everyone at the company whispered about, had sprinted ahead with impossible speed, leaving only dust and disbelief behind. But the moment he said, "If you beat me in the race, I'll reward you," something awakened inside me. A spark of courage. I thought life had crushed years ago. If you believe in kindness, second chances, or the idea that life can change when you least expect it, then please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It helps more than you know, and it keeps stories like this alive. I never imagined a simple race would become a turning point in my life. I was just an ordinary office employee, overworked, underpaid, invisible most days, a ghost wandering through spreadsheets and corporate deadlines. People walked past me without learning my name, only knowing me as the guy who always stays late. I didn't blame them. When life spends years pushing you down, you start believing you're meant to stay there. I had responsibilities most people couldn't see. My mother, whose eyesight was fading, my younger brother, whose college fees were overdue, and the weight of my father's absence since childhood. Every month was a battle between surviving and breaking. I worked 2 jobs, slept 4 hours a night, ate whatever was cheap, and prayed for miracles that never came until the day Mr. Rayan Khan, the CEO of our company, a man known for his strictness, discipline, and almost intimidating presence, noticed me for the first time. It happened on a Monday morning, the kind of morning where fatigue wrapped around me like chains. I was reorganizing files in the storage room when he walked in unexpectedly. His sharp, assessing eyes scanned me, and I felt exposed, like he could see the exhaustion behind my forced smile. He asked how long I'd been working here. When I said 3 years, his eyebrows lifted in surprise. He admitted he never noticed me before. I wasn't offended. Most people hadn't. I was used to blending in, surviving in silence. He then asked something strange: why I always left the building last. Maybe it was the lack of sleep, maybe the pressure building inside me, but I told him the truth, that I worked a second job after this one, that I had responsibilities, that I didn't have the luxury to rest for a moment. His expression softened, just for a moment. Then he said something I wasn't expecting: come to the company marathon this Friday. I want to see something. I thought he was joking. I hadn't run in years. My life didn't include exercise. It included surviving paycheck to paycheck, but he insisted, and saying no to the CEO wasn't an option. When Friday came, I stood among a crowd of energetic employees, feeling completely out of place. My clothes didn't fit right, my shoes weren't meant for racing, and I hadn't eaten breakfast. People laughed quietly among themselves, wondering why I even showed up. My breath was already unstable from anxiety. When Mr. Rayan approached me with a half smile, I couldn't decipher. "If you beat me in the race, I'll reward you," he said. I stared at him, shocked. "Anything I want?" I asked without thinking. He nodded, amused. Anything. It should have been impossible. He was tall, athletic, and trained for marathons. I was barely surviving my own life, but something in his eyes made me believe this was more than a race. It was a test of heart, of willpower, of the strength I had buried beneath years of exhaustion and silent suffering. When the race started, everyone surged forward with confidence. I was slow, my muscles stiff, my breaths uneven, the path ahead blurred with sand, sweat, and sunlight. But as minutes passed, something unexpected happened. I started remembering all the nights I stayed awake for my family, all the sacrifices, all the disappointments, and all the moments life had demanded strength. When I had none left to give, every painful memory fueled my steps, turning weakness into fire. I wasn't running to beat my boss. I was running to prove to myself that I could do something, anything, without giving up. Still, as the race continued, Mr. Rayan maintained an easy lead. His movements were smooth, practiced, strong. I wanted to stop, collapse even, but every time I slowed down, I thought of my mother waiting at home, her blurry vision searching for the son who never complained. I thought of my brother hiding the stress on his face every time his college sent another fee reminder. I thought of the future I desperately wanted but could never reach, and something shifted in me. My legs moved differently, my breath steadied, my heart found a rhythm tied to purpose rather than fear. Slowly, unbelievably, I began closing the distance. I saw him glance back. Eyes widening, he realized I wasn't giving up, but then just as I thought I could catch up, my foot caught on a stone and I stumbled hard. My knee crashed against the rough ground, sending pain shooting up my leg. The world blurred for a moment. People behind me stopped, waiting to see if I would quit. A few snickered. I felt humiliation burning my skin, but the thought of everything at stake pushed me back to my feet. I wasn't here to be impressive. I was here to prove I deserved to exist in my own story. I kept running. When the finish line finally appeared in the distance, my vision was foggy. My body felt heavier than ever. But then I saw something I never expected. My boss slowing down. He looked over his shoulder again, and instead of speeding up, he allowed the gap between us to shrink. He wasn't mocking me, he was giving me a chance with every painful step. I got closer until we were side by side. He glanced at me with something like respect in his eyes. A moment later, he leaned back slightly, letting me cross the finish line just half a second before him. When I stumbled past the ribbon, falling to my knees again, the crowd erupted in stunned applause, not because I was the star. Far from it, but because somehow the invisible office worker nobody noticed had beaten the company's legend in a race that should have been impossible. I expected him to be angry, disappointed, competitive. Instead, he knelt beside me, placed a steady hand on my shoulder, and said quietly that he hadn't seen determination like mine in years. He helped me stand when my legs couldn't. He shielded me from the cameras. He asked me what reward I wanted, but suddenly the question felt too heavy. I didn't want to ask for money or special treatment or anything material. I wanted something more meaningful, something that could change my life permanently, not just temporarily. So I asked for an opportunity, not a gift. I told him I wanted mentorship, a real chance to grow in the company, to learn, to escape the cycle of barely surviving. I told him I wanted a door, just one door, to open, and he nodded. A slow, approving nod that carried the weight of sincerity. The next few weeks changed everything. For the first time in my career, someone believed in me, enough to teach me. He coached me personally, taught me leadership, guided me through company projects, and pushed me to think bigger. Some days were overwhelming, but each time I struggled, he reminded me of the race, of the strength I didn't know I had. I began rising in the company. My salary increased. My brother's college fees were paid. My mother received treatment for her eyesight. Slowly, life began giving me space to breathe, and every time I faced a new challenge, I remembered that broken, breathless morning when I refused to stay down near the end of the year. At the company's annual meeting, Mr. Ryan shared the story publicly, how an unnoticed employee showed more heart than anyone else. He introduced me as someone who reminded him why leaders must look deeper, beyond appearances, beyond titles, beyond first impressions. His words made my eyes burn with tears. I tried to hide. He later told me privately that he had once been like me, struggling, invisible, fighting battles. No one could see. That was why he tested me, why he wanted to see if I had the strength. He once relied on. His belief didn't just change my career, it changed my life. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps keep emotional human stories alive on this channel. Before the story ends, here's a special request. Comment never give up if you believe every small act of kindness can change someone's future. And as I look back now, I realize the reward I won that day wasn't the promotion or the opportunities. It was the courage to believe in myself again. It was the reminder that even the most unseen person can rise when given a chance. And sometimes all it takes is one race, one moment, one spark to rewrite an entire life.